Shalom uvracha from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. With the help of God, we begin this evening the third Mishnah in the third chapter of Pirkei Avot. As those following with us every week know, there are different numbering systems in Pirkei Avot. Please make sure if you're following, the Mishnah begins with the word Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon. Some have this connected to the extension of the second Mishnah, depending on which text you're using. We're learning tonight Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon. Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon, a very fascinating personality in the period of the Mishnah. There are 10 people that we speak of as martyrs of our nation, referred to in the liturgy on Tisha B'Av. In Ashkenazi communities, we mentioned not only Tisha B'Av, we also mentioned it in the repetition of the Amidah on Yom HaKippurim. If you remember, we list the 10 martyrs, and one of them was this great rabbi. His name is Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon, an outstanding personality. Many references are made to him, and we read about him in different places. His excellence and dedication to God, his sensitivity to other people. We read, for instance, that he was in charge of allocations of funds to the poor. In one place, the Gemara says, in Avodah Zarah, Masechet Avodah Zarah, the rabbis teach, don't trust your money in any kind of fund unless the person who is running it is a Torah sage on the level of Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon. Lo yitein adam ma'utav l'arniki shel tzedakah ela imkein mimuneh alav talmid chacham ki Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon. An outstanding individual, and part of his great passion in Judaism, part of his great passion to God was expressed in his love and dedication for studying and for teaching Torah. And there is a story recorded in the Gemara where one of the other great rabbis says to him, "You're still teaching? I heard that you still have classes? You still gather people together and you teach Torah?" Tanu Rabbanan, I'm reading from Tractate Avodah Zarah 18a. Kishachala Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, when the Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma was not feeling well, Halach Rabbi Chananya ben Tiradyon levakero. He went to visit him. There's a mitzvah, of course, of visiting sick people. May that mitzvah become obsolete. May everyone feel perfectly healthy forever. Amar lo, Chanina achi, brother Chanina. Don't you know that this Roman Empire? Don't you know their strength? Don't you know their power? Don't you know their intolerance of Torah? I ata yodea she'uma zo min hashamayim himlichua hechriva et beito sarfa et heichalo. Look what the Romans did. They destroyed Yerushalayim. They destroyed the temple. They burnt the heichal. V'hariga et chasidav. They murdered the most pious of people. V'adayin hi kayemet. And the nation, the empire of Rome is still going strong. And you're gathering people to study? Vani shamati alecha sh'ata yoshev ve'osek b'Torah. There was an edict of them that you were not allowed to study Torah. You surely weren't allowed to teach Torah. Umakil kihilot, excuse me, umakil kihilot barabim, and you do so publicly in such a defiant way. V'sefer Torah munach lecha v'chekecha, and you're holding a Torah scroll. So maybe as an introduction to our Mishnah, we should understand the era that it's being written in. And there is a great commentary on the Pirkei Avot. I think a classical work by Rav Irving Bunim. It's called Ethics from Sinai. printed many, many tens of years ago. I remember even when I was a child, there were many people studying his works. I don't know the exact date. I have the book here somewhere in the house. But Rav Irving Bunin, he makes a very, very interesting suggestion regarding our Mishnah. He says that when Rabbi Hananya ben Trajan is teaching, that when people are sitting and not studying Torah, as we will currently learn, don't learn this in an abstract way. There's a particular time frame. There's a particular era that he's saying this in. And understand it within that frame. Understand what's going on. People are telling everybody not to study Torah. I'll read you Irving Bunin's note. Against the background of the times, the Romans were publicly prohibiting all forms of Talmud Torah study. Rabbi Hananya may well have meant in his teaching in our Mishnah, it is understandable if a great many of our people are together and do not discuss Torah, because they're afraid of talking about Torah, for this has been prohibited, and they would run the risk of terrible punishment by the Romans. And maybe in any case, that's what Rabbi Hananya is teaching in our Mishnah. And I begin the Mishnah together with you. Rabbi Hananya ben Trajan Omer, Shnayim sheyoshevin, ve'ein beinehem divrei Torah. If two people are sitting together, but there is no Torah, there are no words of Torah being exchanged, if the particular conversation is godless and Torahless and mundane in its nature, Harei zeh, says Rabbi Hananya, Harei zeh moshav leitzim. It's like a group of scoffers, a group of people who are mocking, who are sitting together. No Torah mention in the discussion. So according to one reading, he's not just talking generally, but he's talking specifically to a group of people who maybe are overcome with fear. I can't speak Torah. Maybe one of the Roman officers will arrest me or will kill me. Harei zeh moshav leitzim. Nevertheless, says Rabbi Hananya, this meeting, this discussion, is on a very problematic level. And it's on the level, the words that are used in our Mishnah bothered me for a long time. Because it says here, shene'emar. Now, almost every reference to shene'emar, not every reference, but almost every reference to shene'emar in Mishnah, Talmudic literature, it means when you study the text, you will see the teaching that I just said. Shene'emar, the text will prove the teaching. Surely on a simple level, the text does not prove the teaching. He's trying to say that if they sit around, they just talk, idle talk, it's a moshav leitzim, and then he says, shene'emar, uve moshav, chapter 1 of Tehillim, uve moshav leitzim lo yashav. Fortunate is the person who did not walk in the pathway. Ashrei yeshashel lo halach batzat b'shayim. He didn't follow the counsel of the wicked. B'derech hatayim lo amad, v'moshav leitzim lo yashav. So he says shene'emar, v'moshav leitzim lo yashav. This has bothered me for many, many years. I remember when I was even in the Beit Midrash in Torah Avot many, many years ago, and I was trying to figure out what's shene'emar. Now there are commentaries. I just want to be intellectually honest. There are many commentators who learn shene'emar, that this indeed is a proof text. What's the proof text? Because after it says ki im b'torat Hashem chefzo. Rather, he didn't walk in the counsel of the wicked. He didn't stand in the pathway of the sinners, and he didn't sit around amongst the group of people who are mocking. So what did he do? Ki im b'torat Hashem chefzo. His desire was about the Torah of God. So maybe shene'emar moshav leitzim lo yashav could mean that if you study that whole chapter, maybe there's a proof. The words shene'emar moshav leitzim lo yashav do not seem to prove the contention of Rabbi Hananya ben Trajan that when people are sitting and talking and no Torah is there, that it's a moshav leitzim. I remember there was a student who was at that time he was a student. Today I think he's a great rabbi. I think the last time I met him, he was the assistant district attorney in New York City. I think. And he's a Torah scholar. I think his name is Rabbi Halberstam. And I was, you know.
Halberstam.
Yeah, so I mean,
Was it his son that got killed on the Brooklyn Bridge?
I hope not. It's a different family. May his family be blessed, and may all the families be blessed. I mean, so Rabbi Halberstam, I went over to him. He was older than me. He was in the Beit Midrash. I don't know. He saw me and he said, "What's bothering you?" I said, "Well, I can't figure out this Mishnah. Shen ne'emar." Where's Shen ne'emar? Uve moshav leitzim lo yashav. He didn't sit in a group of how does that prove anything? So that doesn't prove that this is a group of scoffers. That means if you show me a group of leitzim, the righteous person doesn't sit there. How does uve moshav leitzim lo yashav prove that shnayim sheyoshavim ve'ein beinehem divrei Torah harei zeh moshav leitzim? That's what I asked him. And Rav Halberstam, may he and his entire family be blessed, answered me. He said, no, Shen Ne'emar does not necessarily have to be read that way. Shen Ne'emar could mean, not that we're going to prove it from this text, but rather, he is teaching the kind of people that are mentioned in that text are the kind of people that I'm teaching about now. Not that the text proves that these people are leitzim. Shen Ne'emar, as is referenced in the book of Tehillim, that there is such a thing called leitzim, and he's supposed to stay away from leitzim. I'm telling you that these people are leitzim. Not that the pasuk proves, not Shen Ne'emar the way it's understood throughout Shas. Shen Ne'emar, I have a teaching, and the proof text will be the text that I will be quoting. That's the way I understood it to be. Although I did come across many commentaries who try to explain it differently, and they try to say that. That we can use that as a proof text. In any case, Shnayim sheyoshvim ve'ein beinehem divrei Torah. I saw in Midrash Shmuel, one of the great commentaries on Pirkei Avot. I saw it also in other commentaries. He says Shnayim sheyoshvim ve'ein beinehem divrei Torah could mean that each one may be studying. Reuven is studying over here, and he's sitting here and he's sitting there. Reuven is studying his teachings or his studies, his works, and Shimon is studying here. Ein beinehem divrei Torah. What about joining together? What about talking to each other? What about discussing matters with each other? Harei zeh moshav leitzim. Why is it a moshav leitzim? Because in a certain sense, if you're not interested in what the other person has to say, so perhaps it's a form of mocking the level of greatness or the level of scholarship or the level of integrity of the other individual. So, shnayim sheyoshavim, if I'm sitting and I don't ask you, do you have something to say about the sense that I'm studying? Could you answer some of the queries that are bothering me? Could we discuss things? Zelachud v'zelachud ein beinehem divrei Torah harei zeh moshav leitzim, because the person is perhaps being mitlot seitz. He is mocking the Torah and wisdom of the other individual. Even if we learn it in the most basic of levels, it means that it's very important to include Torah in our discussions. I think it's important to emphasize that our Mishnah does not mean that there's never a time that one can discuss anything other than Torah. That's what it sounds like, right? Shnayim sheyoshvim ve'ein beinehem divrei Torah. Well, what if we're discussing, should we invest in this particular stock? What about if we're investing, should we build in this area? What if we're discussing about opening a store? What if we're discussing about a certain program in university? What if we're how to take care of communal affairs? There are many, many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of issues that are not Torah discussion. So what does it mean? And all of those discussions would be without Divrei Torah. So I'd like to read the great words of Rav Yaakov Emden, who wrote a commentary on the Mishnah. Maybe some people say, Lechem Shamayim Eitz Avot. I think it's a play on the word Eitz Avot with an ayin and Eitz Avot with an aleph. And, in the Torah, it speaks about when they're speaking about the 4 species. So there's Eitz Avot. Eitz Avot. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce an ayin, but Eitz Avot there is with ayin. The commentary of Rabbi Yaakov Emden is Eitz Avot with an aleph. The commentary on Pirkei Avot. And Rabbi Yaakov Emden writes something very beautiful. I think basic. Maybe it's obvious, but I want to read it anyway. Hainu dafka kishiyoshevim ve'ein lahem esek klal ledaber bo. It's not that we're not talking about it. He's not criticizing people that are discussing matters that have to be dealt with. If someone is speaking about, where are we going to go tomorrow, or where should we go shopping, or that's all legitimate. What do you mean, Ein Beinehem Divrei Torah? Hainu dafka kishiyoshevim ve'ein lahem esek klal ledaber bo. They're just talking, chattering, utter nonsenses. Aval ein hakavana, says Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Ein hakavana al hayoshavim umedaberim b'nyanei ha'olam. They're discussing matters, perhaps maybe they have to make certain moves in government changes or political establishments. Hatzirichim. He says if you don't learn that way, you're taking away law. You're ruining the world. And he points. He references the story. If you remember, when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his great son Rabbi Elazar came out of the cave, and they saw people working. They said, "Oh, working. That's what they're doing. Manichim chayei olam." They're plowing fields. They're working in the field. They're working in agriculture. Wow. And the heavenly voice comes and says, "What are you trying to do? Ruin my world?"
But they went back into the cave.
That's right. Lachariv olami yitzatem. Is your intention to destroy my world? You obviously don't understand anything about this world. So Rabbi Yaakov Emden says that that's not the intention of this statement. Of course, there's legitimacy for many millions and millions of conversations. I wrote that I think that no matter what you're speaking about, that I wrote in my own notes, I'm sure it's been said by many people before me, including maybe one way of reading Tiferet Yisrael. It doesn't mean you have to say Shnayim Sheyoshvi. Okay, I want to tell you something from Parshat HaShavua, or I want to discuss with you a statement of the Rambam. Maybe anything you're talking about. There is no topic in the world. There is no topic in the world, no matter what you're speaking about. In all areas, in all matters, maybe there is a way to try to include in the discussion some aspect of Torah insight into whatever you're talking about. Put a little Torah in it. Even if you're talking, I can't think of all the topics at once, but I would venture to say, from A to Z, from Aleph to Taf, there is no topic in the world that Torah has nothing to say about. Everything is included in the realm of Torah. So put in some, some religious comment, some aspect of Torah. Maybe that's one way of reading this. No matter what you're discussing, even if it seems to you as far away from the text as possible, we're not limiting Torah to textual readings. No matter what you're discussing, put in a little Torah, and that will elevate the level of your conversation. May we all be blessed to try to follow the pathway suggested to us by Rabbi Hananya ben Tranyon and elevate all the conversations between all people in the whole world. Shalom v'racha. Thank you for listening.